I'm Jeremy White, and the gang's all here for our first mock draft.
Who's ready, Bills Mafia? It's the Bills Squad. Everything Buffalo Bills, every week. Breaking down the big hits and game-changing plays the way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. So gear up and squad up. The Bills Squad show starts now.
Welcome in, Bills Mafia. Jeremy White, Joe Marino, and the big O, Jerry Ostrowski. We've got a special edition of Bills Squad today. We're doing our first ever mock draft. We're going to take 5 rounds of this draft. We've got a simulator we're going to run. If you're listening on the podcast, you won't miss a thing. You'll get all the picks. We're going to go through it. We're going to break down the board as it goes, talk trade up opportunities, trade down opportunities, and go all the way to the Bills' first 5 rounds of this draft to try to address needs and see how this thing goes. And along the way, if you are watching us on the stream, you'll see it on the screen, how it's going to play out. We'll pause every couple picks. We'll get through it, and we'll find out ultimately who the Bills will get in this version of the mock draft. When we get to the picks, we haven't settled this yet, so let's just do it right here organically. Is it just majority rules at 26, right? If it's this defensive end versus this linebacker, we're just going to talk about it and come to a consensus decision, right, guys?
I think that's got to be the goal, right? That's what makes this fun, is we all have to be on board enough to agree on the picks. I like that.
Just understand, though, folks, if we come out of this thing with 5 wide receivers, Jeremy is the one that's pushing the button, not us.
Likewise, if we come out with 5 offensive linemen, I think we know who's guilty. If we come out with 5 defensive linemen, well, that's probably going to be me. So.
Well, this would be a good opportunity to kind of imagine what the Bills' room is like, right? And we could each have our own tier of like, I'd prefer this player versus I'm standing on the table for our Mason Thomas, right? Jerry, you ready to stand on the table for your Sooners out there? Like a couple different players you like?
There's a couple I like, and they're not necessarily Sooners. I mean, there's a couple of guys, especially an edge. I've got an edge that I've grown fond of that hopefully is there when we pick a little bit later.
I got some linebackers. I've been studying linebackers lately, so I'm feeling like there's a few of those that could come through that I'll be pounding the table for.
One thing about this simulator we've got, you can adjust different settings on it, and I'll put it up on our screen here. You can adjust different settings like positional premium and the team needs and the randomness meter all the way up, and how often there are trades. And a site like this will pepper you with trades when you're on the clock, and this site that we're using today is A to Z Sports. And what it offers, it's kind of cool, I think, guys, is you'll have the opportunity to kind of look at the trade value tree and how many points are coming back in the deal. And let's say the Bills are at 26 and the 36th pick comes calling, or the 43rd pick comes calling. There's going to be windows, how comfortable you feel like dropping down. And, it's all about, do they need more picks? Do they want to slide a little bit? Are there 5 names on the board? The usual stuff you get to with mock drafts, and we'll take you through it. So without further ado, shall we get started? No real big drum roll, nothing like that. But 5 rounds to get us to the 26th pick, the 91st pick, and on from there. So to the board we go. And the Las Vegas Raiders, of course, are first on the clock. We'll go maybe 5 picks at a time. These sites are fun because sometimes they give you some random little pieces that'll be surprises. In this case, Arvell Reese makes it to 5. It's Mendoza that goes first overall. The Jets go with an offensive lineman second overall. Have you seen that very much at all, guys? This pick here? Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
so
that'd be a major surprise with them. Really, the last 2 years they took offensive tackles in the first round, and the Armand Membu from Missouri, and then the left tackle Fashino from Penn State. So you could probably flip picks 2 and 3 to get a more realistic look.
Right. And I do like Maui Noah. I think Maui Noah is a heck of a player, but the one thing about him going at number 2 is, A, he's a right tackle, and B, there's also a lot of talk that's going to say he's bumping inside. So are we going to take a guy that's eventually a guard at number 2? I agree with that.
Right. I like to practice in this spot of kind of shuffle a few. This guy's going early. Maybe he doesn't go 2. Maybe he goes like 4 or 5.
Do you know the prospect that I've become completely infatuated with now that I finally got to their tape is Sonny Styles from Ohio State. Have you guys seen this guy play football?
Yeah.
I mean, he's unbelievable. And the one thing I didn't know about him is that he just switched to linebacker in 2024.
Yeah.
This guy might be the best player in the class. I mean, I'm watching Ohio State and I'm like, does he just make every tackle? Is that what happens? Is he? And the answer is kind of yes. And then he has like no limitations in terms of coverage. He's massive. This is as good of a linebacker as we've seen in a long time. That I will not blink if he winds up being a top 5 selection as an off-ball linebacker. If I'm the Jets, I'll tell you what, he's going to be in serious consideration for number 2.
I mean, just off the charts on his testing, a 4.46. I think he was the fastest linebacker at the combine, vertical to over 43 inches, broad jumped over 11. I mean, this is a freak. Now, he's got a brother that plays as well. And the interesting thing is their dad, who used to play, is their trainer. That's their guy. Like, he did a lot of this, trained them a lot when coached them up when they're young. So, yeah, huge prospect.
So our top 5 as it goes right now, it's Fernando Mendoza, as everyone would really expect to go number 1. Maui Noah, the offensive tackle 2, Reuben Bain, David Bailey, Arvell Reese. The edges, Bain, Bailey, you see those guys at the top a lot. Arvell Reese also right around this spot. And the Browns on the clock, it'll go Browns, Commanders, Saints, Chiefs, Bengals. And I think we're Bills fans. This might be the most attention we have to pay to the top 10 in quite some while in terms of teams that we talk about a lot. I know the Chiefs had a terrible year, and Mahomes is coming off of a ACL injury, but we're going to care who they get, especially because they have 2 first-round picks. And the Bengals, like if they ever got their defense right, things might get interesting. So let's cycle through the next 5 picks here and find out what happens. We're not trading up, right? We're not talking about trading up to 6th overall to Cleveland, where they are. Carnell Tate goes off the board. Jordan Tyson, Sonny Styles, Spencer Fano, and Jeremiah Love. So we're at the top 10. 2 receivers off the board, and Tate, and then Tyson 7th overall to Washington, which is as high as I've seen him anywhere. Sonny Styles to the Saints. The Chiefs go offensive line, and Jeremiah Love to the Cincinnati Bengals.
Could you share the screen, please, Jeremy?
I'm sorry about that. Yes, I can do that.
Thank you.
So there we go. So Sonny Styles 8th, Spencer Fano, and Jeremiah Love. To Miami on the clock. If we're looking at players that are falling, I've got it highlighted on the right side of the screen: wide receiver, edge, defensive tackle, linebacker. If you want, I can put safety in that mix, and interior offensive line. I feel like the positions we can almost eliminate for the Bills: quarterback, running back, tight end, tackle, at least in the early rounds. And that might be it. I'll even include cornerback in there as well while we do this.
I have a question for Joe. How talking to some of the guys, I know you do the draft shows and everything, how much run is this thing getting of Spencer Fano and the extremely short arm length or lack of length, and how that's going to affect his draft position as well as the position he ultimately ends up in the NFL?
He's a fascinating player that I don't think anyone is overly comfortable projecting what's going to happen there. I think most people would say he's a really good prospect, but obviously the interior transition that would be coming with a lot of that being center, there's so much projection involved there that it just makes it a little bit uncomfortable when you're talking about a premium investment. And so I think everybody likes the player. It's just a matter of when's the right spot in terms of there being a transition and feeling like you're going to get the correct return on that. And so I think that's what makes it tricky with him. I've done some simulations where he was available for the Bills at the end of the first round. I was like, I guess I got to do this, right? I got to pick him. So it's going to be fascinating to see that one play out.
Because the part that's weird about him is at 6'5.5" and 311, he almost looks light. He almost looks lean to where he's almost looks like a beefed up tight end running around and doesn't have the length. I mean, it is an interesting prospect, and it's interesting to figure out where he will end up, because I haven't seen nothing like him in quite a while.
And centers are kind of getting bigger when you think about Joe Tippmann and Frank Ragnow and Mitch Morse, and like they're taller than they ever were, right? You used to see some stubby centers, and now you got tackles that are playing center.
Right, exactly.
Get to a few more picks here up on the clock. Miami, Dallas, the Rams, Baltimore, and Tampa to round out the next group of 5. The Rams will be interesting to me what they're going for, because they're very much in like a go for it kind of mode. And this is the pick they get from the Falcons in that trade for James Pierce last year. And then, of course, Baltimore, kind of like the Chiefs here, picking a little higher than most of the time when we're talking about these teams. So Miami goes corner, Mansour Lane. Caleb Downs makes it all the way to number 12 and 13. The offensive lineman I know you love, Joe, is on the interior of the offensive line now for the Los Angeles Rams. Peter Woods, defensive tackle for Baltimore. Mekhi Lemon to the Bucks. They say goodbye to Mike Evans and stay flush at wide receiver with Mekhi Lemon to the Tampa Bay Bucks, and then one more tick down, Jermod McCoy, corner, Tennessee, 16th overall.
Hate to see Miami get the number 1 corner in the draft, but I guess that's just where they're going to be able to be in that spot at 11 where inevitably they're going to get a big-time corner, Caleb Downs, maybe Vega Ione from Penn State. You know, they're going to be in a position there to get a pretty big-time talent, in my opinion. So we got to come to terms with that happening.
Vega Ione is phenomenal. Great player. Woods is kind of he's an interesting prospect, a little up and down, I think. Maybe didn't play quite to his pedigree at Clemson, but has all the tools. Be interesting to see how he progresses in the league for sure.
10 picks away from the Bills. If you're looking at the board right now, the talent on the board, Keldrick Falk, if you want an edge rusher, Casey Concepcion, the safety is there, Dylan Thieneman. If you want a defensive tackle, I know Caden McDonald's the guy we've talked about, safety Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, CJ Allen. Like the board is, I think we can all kind of expect this. Yeah. And this is the hardest part to forecast if you're us trying to guess what the Bills would do. Is it possible that they would have someone like Caden McDonald as the 17th best player in the draft and think like we could go there and get this player, and then there's a significant teardrop? Like this kind of guys gets to where a team has, 13 first-round grades, maybe one is left, and that's a guy that they think we should go get. But at this point, I don't know. It'd be really tough imagining them going up 10 spots in the draft to get anybody when we're looking at the board as it looks like this.
And I think this is where the reality of Casey Concepcion and like where the league is going to have him, I think this is pretty realistic where Jordan Tyson going in the top 10 didn't help at all, but there are some landmines along the way here with Carolina at 19, the Eagles at 23, receiver. Minnesota, the Browns at 24, where
Pittsburgh is going to talk receiver.
Yeah, it's probably going to be a dream.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Philadelphia, if they're going to trade A.J. Brown, are they talking about a receiver in the first round?
It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable for sure.
Right. So if you're sitting there hoping for him right now, it might be tough. But to the next few picks, and we'll get a few more in here before we get to maybe the Bills getting closer to move up for a smaller size. Like what if it's 2-3 spots? We'll see. The Lions, next 5 picks here. Lions, Monroe Freeling, offensive tackle, Avian Terrell, corner, Keldrick Falk, edge, Kenyon Sadiq to the Cowboys, and then Casey Concepcion to the Steelers at 21 overall. That's the portion of the night where if the draft is falling this way, I am doubly sad, in part that Casey Concepcion is off the board. Another part of it would be that Pittsburgh gets him because Pittsburgh is where, well, I don't know that receivers go to die there. They've had some pretty great receivers over the years, but I just don't know about Aaron Rodgers and what their plan might be. And I'd be sad that a player that I like is going to end up in Pittsburgh. I wouldn't like that one bit.
Let me ask you this question, Jeremy. Is Jordan Tyson kind of the guy that if he goes earlier maybe is the indicator that this run on wide receivers is going to happen? I mean, Tyson's kind of thought to be maybe in that mid-20 range. Where he went in this draft is kind of high. If he goes that high, does that make people panic and start the wide receiver run?
Maybe. I wonder about a run. I also wonder, there are going to be a lot of different evaluations on Denzel Boston and Omar Cooper. Like, they're both very interesting. Cooper's a guy that played so much in the slot, but the year before did play a lot more on the outside. Right. Some people think Denzel Boston is Mike Evans. And if he's, if he's a guy that can produce, then, maybe he slips in here somewhere too. So I always like to think about one positional player. When you're picking as late as 26, somebody that you think is past you is going to go earlier and maybe reset how things maybe fall. I think that could be Omar Cooper. I think that could be Denzel Boston that go before the Bills pick.
I kind of look at it as if this thing falls away, I think it's going to go, we're going to have multiple options and have our hands tied. Like we're going to kind of have to make a tough decision because I think we're going to have a lot of different options at 26 if we stick and pick.
Well, I think with Concepcion coming off the board, it 100% takes away my appetite for trading up.
Yes.
So I think we could probably agree there that there wouldn't be a player at this point that we should be in that mindset of moving up.
Right.
For the sake of this, we can have a little experiment here. The site, A to Z Sports, allows you to go back a pick. And if we want to try to trade up, do you want to see what it might cost on the trade value chart? Like a trade value chart with Pittsburgh to move up to that spot to 21. Granted, this is the player that, they want also. You have to make up about 112 points on the trade tree. And, it's not a whole heck of a lot. It might be a fourth next year or a fifth next year. But again, I think the toughest part of this is that Pittsburgh is the one that takes him. And if they do that, then, ultimately you're not going to talk him out of it.
Right. Yeah. They're not. And of course you don't know that when you're going to make a trade, but
right. To the next few picks, and then we'll get a better idea of where we are for the Bills. Offensive tackle off the board for the Chargers, Caleb Lemieux. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren of the Steelers. Dylan Thieneman to the Browns at 24. These are two safeties back-to-back. The safety run begins. The Bears go. Caden McDonald right in front of the Bears.
Woo!
So these last 6 picks have been – this is how it goes, though, right?
Trade.
Names we know. These are the names we know because this is where they're supposed to go. So, this is where it ultimately falls out. So the best on the board, C.J. Allen, Caleb Banks, Denzel Boston, Omar Cooper at positions of need. You guys are liking trades?
Chase Besantis, guard, Texas A&M.
Well, I mean, if we're being honest, you said Caleb Banks. When you said Caleb Banks, in my mind, I heard Caleb Downs.
Right. Caleb Banks. Sorry.
So, I mean, the name that pops for me right now is Akeem Mesador.
Same.
As an edge rusher. I mean, the way that this fell, they didn't get receivers or McDonald, but I think the edge rushers that are available it's a pretty robust group. I mean, even TJ Parker. So both the speedy guys and Howell and Thomas are on the board. Akeem Mesador and TJ Parker. I would be surprised if they were all there, but I think that puts the Bills in a good spot if that's what they want to do or leverage that to move back. I think that's intriguing.
Well,
I like Mesador quite a bit, and I think a big part of my liking him is I know that people don't like that he's 25. In this case, and what we kind of need right away, I like that he's a little bit mature and can come in and play a little bit earlier, get after it, understands things. And then the other part about it, Jason Taylor, he is well coached. And I think he would be an immediate impact player if that's the way we decide to go.
Akeem Mesador, defensive end, edge rusher for the Bills, rather, if they were to make this pick, would you guys be scared off that he's about to be 25?
That's what I was just saying. I don't think I would be in this case.
You would not be scared?
No, not in this case.
Because I mean, if it works out, great. You get a great player, but his first contract is going to be pushing the end of when guys are available.
Right.
So it would be part of the case against him.
Well, when you're paying a quarterback like Josh Allen, maybe there's some advantages to not having to re-sign your first-round pick in 6 years,
I love you, Joe Marino.
Yeah,
that was
I did that for you.
Has it been that long since they re-signed a first-round pick?
No, I'm just saying that would be when you would do it, right? If you were to draft Mesador, you'd have the 5th-year option. So 6 years from now, you'd be talking about an extension at age 30.
Gotcha, right.
For a first-rounder.
Rousseau got paid, of course. I'm over here thinking, did they not? Anyway. All right, let's get a break in. When we get back, we'll make the call. Trade down, Akeem Mesador. There are other ideas here. There's Cassius Howell, a couple of receivers on the board, Omar Cooper, who I think the Bills will ultimately love. So we'll get to the Bills pick. Stick and pick, trade down, find out when we return here on the Bill Squad Show. This episode of Bill Squad brought to you by Robinhood. Yes, with Robinhood, you can jump in the game in a different way. What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets change the game. It's people moving the action. So when momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can actually take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play-by-play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood, now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. Back here on the Bill Squad Show, and we are ready to make the pick, or at least the call, for the Bills here. Do you guys feel strongly enough about Mesador to say no thanks to trading down? Just get your edge rusher for this guy that is, older, some injury concerns, but he has the production for it. So if you're both saying Mesador, that's the call.
Well, I'll say this about Mesador as well, and then I'll squash the idea a little bit too. What I also like about Mesador in comparison to R. Mason Thomas and Cassius Howell is I get a run defense element here. This is not a player that's going to be a liability on rundowns, which matters to me. So if we were to stick and pick and it was an edge rusher, that would be a big tiebreaker that would help me overlook his age factor, which I think we can ease, but I do think it is relevant. It's something that you're mindful of. You want him to be 25 when you're talking about contract extension as opposed to before they played their first snap in the NFL. So given that, my appetite for moving back is pretty strong, especially with Ty Simpson still on the board. So I think one of our goals should be to provide a realistic look at how this could play out. And I think the group of edge rushers available plus Ty Simpson puts us in a position where a team moving up would have reason to do it.
I think as far as Mesador goes, there's a lot of things that are really, really intriguing to me about the guy, especially the fact that he's from Ottawa, Canada. He's actually a Canadian, so he understands Buffalo a little bit. But you look at the way he rushes, he's rabid. I mean, he can rush in and out. One of the things they do with him in Miami was put him over a guard and get a lot of athletic mismatches on third down over a guard. I talked about Jason Taylor and the things, but the two glaring things when you get Mesador that you have to be comfortable with, the historical data about length at that position. It's not there, okay? He's not a tall guy, 32-inch plus arms, not super long arms. He does have a power aspect, but that length of, that sort of length in the NFL, how does it translate? It hasn't translated well. And then the other thing is the age at 25. So there's actually an edge rusher that I really, really like that I think we could pick up in the third round, maybe the second round if we grab a second-round pick, if we have to go that early. I think we get him in the third. So I think trading back actually would be wise to get more picks and move back, save some money, and then get some of these players where, get them a little bit later. I think there's a lot of talent throughout the second, third, and fourth round that we can take advantage of.
As much as that might be true, and you might want to trade back, what if I told you that on our current mock draft site, there are no offers? Not an offer. A lot of times there are offers, and on this right now, I'll go ahead and click that tab that says trade offers, and it is crickets.
Wow.
So we are
You
sticking
can offer
and
a trade. You can offer a trade.
We could try to offer a trade. Who you want to trade with? You want to trade back with something with Arizona?
Yeah,
See if they want
Arizona.
to come up and get Ty Simpson. We could try to do that. So to get their 34th pick, it would take a little bit on their end. So maybe their 7th matches it perfectly. We could ask for a 6th to move up. We could go to 2027, which might be a decent idea. A 4th rounder in 2027. How about that? We'll send that offer and see if it's accepted. And it is. So off we go. We're moving down to Arizona's spot, and we'll be at 34th on the clock. And here are the players we lost out on. They came up and did take Ty Simpson. Caden Proctor, C.J. Allen, Omar Cooper to the Chiefs. You guys know me. I'm not going to be happy about any of this right now. It's just the way that it goes. That's okay. It's okay. C.J. Allen, Omar Cooper, T.J. Parker, Cassius Howell to the Patriots. R. Mason Thomas to the Jets. So in this trade down, you've added a 4th next year, and 2 division opponents have picked up edge rushers. You're back on the clock. The good news is, if you still want to keep Mesador, he's the pick.
He stands out to me. I also really like Christian Miller out of Georgia as an interior type player that I think gives you a guy that helps your scheme transition, that helps Deion Walker get into some more favorable alignments. So if we were scared of length and age with Mesador, I think I have a case for Christian Miller.
I'll go ahead and I'll tell you who I'm thinking of for next round as far as edge goes, and that would be Malachi Williams from UCF.
Malachi
Lawrence. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Malachi Lawrence. I think that's a guy that I really like because it gives you the bend. but it also gives you the length. I mean, he's got super long arms. He's a long player. You get some run play out of him, all those things, and he'll develop. I know he's not all the way there yet. He's a bit raw, but I've been that's a guy I've been looking at that I think would be available in the third round if we don't get edge earlier.
On the clock, 34th overall here. We're doing our first mock draft here. We've traded down and added a 4th rounder next year. There are 5 trade offers coming in, but I'm almost inclined to say, like, guys, we can only go down so many times. We got to pick some players here, right? Like, I'm going to want to get some players. And at 34 overall, let me ask you, Joe, about Denzel Boston. Like, we're in the 2nd round. He's been pegged to go, maybe near the end of the 1st. If wide receiver is something that they still want to do, what's your look at Boston, what he offers them, and whether or not it'd be a good fit? His detractors are calling him Keon Coleman, right? And then the people that want to make the case for Denzel Boston are saying over and over again, he's not Keon Coleman. He beats man coverage much, much better. He can get open. It's not the same profile, even though they are both big receivers that win with their size and can win with their body frame.
Yeah, I think it's completely unfair to Denzel Boston to invoke the name Keon Coleman. If you want to say that you don't prefer receivers that aren't dynamic separators, that's fine. I can listen to that. I don't think Denzel Boston's a great separator, but I do think that he's a significantly better prospect for the X receiver position than Keon Coleman ever was. And so if you feel like you want to free up DJ Moore a little bit more and you want that true traditional X, okay. I mean, you could talk me into Denzel Boston. I might rather just wait around and get Elijah Surratt out of Indiana, who I think is comparable. But I don't think we have to do this to Denzel Boston. I don't think it's fair to him, although it wouldn't be my preferred style of receiver, to be honest.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with all that.
So what's the pick?
Can you put it back on the screen?
Put it back on the screen.
Sorry. Akeem, my fault. Akeem Mesador is still there. Top of the board. Caleb Banks falling still. Defensive tackle. Big. Could he be a fit for this defense? Akeem Mesador, Chris Bell, Chase Besantis. I know Jerry liked him quite a bit. Zion Young, Kristen Miller is there, as you said. Who do you like?
I think it's harder, and Miller, Joe, if I'm correct, fills that nose role that we need, right?
100%. But if your team pass rush matters the most, I mean, Mesador stands out to me.
Let's
pull the trigger. I'm in. I know they're going to want
Christian Miller's also like 21 years old, so you get
Yeah.
a much younger player. Maybe not as valuable, but
I think, but are there nose tackles later that we can draft that'll help us, or do we get our nose now and get our edge later?
there are nose tackles later. Big Orange and Lee Hunter, Corleone,
McClellan out of Missouri.
Yeah, but what's different about Miller is I think that his pass rush ceiling is significantly more than those guys.
I can go with him or Mesador. It's your call, Joe.
You have a lean on this, Jerry?
I'd have taken Chase
I-
Besantis, so I'm staying out of it.
I would lean Mesador because it's just, I mean, think of all the guys that are out there right now waiting to sign somewhere and waiting for the draft to unfold. Yeah. What would you rather be chasing the day after the draft is over? A defensive end or a big-bodied guy that can plug the middle for a while? Like DJ Reader, there's a couple guys that are just kind of out there, right? And I can have them for not that expensive a deal. Like, how much does DJ Reader cost versus how much Joey Bosa is going to cost me?
And if I have Mesador, it frees up Rousseau to play more 5-tech. It should, at least. All right. I think we go Mesador. We thought about him at 26. We trade back. We still get him. I think.
Now, here's another question I have. When we make the trade, do we ask for a 27 or could we have asked for another 26?
Yeah, I thought that the terms of that trade were kind of off. Like that trade happened last year, and the Giants gave up a 3 that year and a 3 the next year. So that would be my expectation for that trade.
Okay. We can trade back up if you want. I mean, this is just this mock draft formula. It's not like we're actually going to spend or use these picks in a mock next year. So I'll trade away future stuff to get us back in if you really want. But the Bills, after this part, they're not picking for about another 60 picks. So you've got your edge rusher. And I guess what you're looking for here now, as the clock just kind of ticks and the names tick off, here's Denzel Boston to the Bengals, which, might be a bit of overkill, maybe. Chris Bell goes off the board a few picks after the Bills right there to the Giants at 37th overall. Edge rusher Zion Young to the Saints. The Dolphins on the clock, continuing to prick through. Here's Chris Brazzell to the Jets. Might be paying attention to that. Kristen Miller to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. As the names tick off the board here, and I'll share the screen again. Sorry, gentlemen. I'm trying to get both these screens run at the same time. Just kind of going through and seeing Colton Hood, D'Angelo Pons to the Steelers. Jeremy Bernard is another name.
And there's Lawrence.
I don't know where he's going to go. Malachi Lawrence, edge rusher. Jeremy Bernard is another one. I feel like the Bills will love this guy. In Alabama, a lot of they refer to him as like glue guy Jeremy. He does it all. To me, seems like the right kind of Bills player, Bills receiver that they would bring in the third if he fell there or somewhere in the third and say, like, he won't ask for too much right away. He'll do everything we want him to do. He'll come up through the ranks the right way. But he's gone early here in the second round.
I saw him live in Norman when they played against the Sooners in the playoffs. I mean, the kid competes. That's one thing I liked about that offense of Alabama. Even the quarterback, Ty Simpson, the receivers, they get after it. They compete. They played hard.
We'll keep chugging along here. The Bills are up in about 35 picks in the third round. Again, we took Akeem Mesador, defensive end, edge rusher in the second round.
This pick down right here, 65, I think that should be the Bills' pick.
Okay, because of that trade down?
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead and get into it. Go ahead and let's go ahead and get there.
Sure. The first pick on the third round.
Yeah, force it. Even if you give up our first round pick next year, just get us that pick. Yeah,
force us into this. So offer a trade. Arizona will pick for this one just for the sake of it. Third rounder, and we'll send next year's first, just to make them send
as a formality.
They rejected. They don't want to go down to 91.
Well, they're not getting 91.
They said no.
Oh, it doesn't say the first though. It does. You don't have the first on there.
There we go. They're still rejecting.
They don't want it. First.
I'm sorry. I'm clicking the wrong side. You can tell this is live. Sorry about this, everybody. They still rejected. You're offering more than 65 is worth. They want to remove some assets. All right. There's quality control on these trades. They're still saying no.
Unbelievable.
I'm trying so hard, Arizona, to give you a lot. How's this? Still no. They're not going to let us in. Let's just pretend it's our pick. How's that?
Okay. Yeah, we need to pretend this is our pick.
We'll just pretend it's our pick. The Bills are here on the clock, and it's Jake Golday. I know we've talked about him like as a linebacker ID. He's huge, right?
Dude, I like that pick. He's a monster, man. He's 6'4", 250. You pair him with the proper nose, you ain't got to worry about the middle being weak anymore. That's for dang sure.
I'm a huge Jake Golday fan. He's one of the weirdest prospects I've ever evaluated because he literally played slot corner for them at 240, 250 pounds. So that gets me excited about the coverage.
Serious?
Yeah, dude, he's playing slot corner. I've never seen anything like it. He literally played slot corner for Cincinnati.
Wow.
It sounds like another Michael Hoyt scouting report.
And Anthony Hill at Texas was also one of those players that I'm like, what is this role that you're playing? It's completely unique, but I mean, I think that's very attractive. Now you're everything about playing downhill Mike and taking on contact and processing against the run is completely unknown, but the coverage profile and the range is off the charts with Jake Golday.
We'll keep plugging along. If it is the pick here, would it be Golday? Some of the receivers in this spot.
Well, Hurst is there.
Ted Hurst is there, who I think is very, very interesting for the Bills. So is Antonio Williams, who I believe they met with, which I don't see the fit there.
No, he's a slot.
He's a slot only. And I just see nothing in the profile that is something the Bills should want. Not that he couldn't be any good. If you didn't have Khalil Shakir, sure. But the slot only receiver has a lot of fading value in the league. Like they want you to move around and do lots of different things. And I don't see Antonio Williams for the Bills, even though they did meet with him. So, there's some level of interest. Anyway, what other
linebackers were there?
Linebackers that are still here right now on the board: Anthony Hill, Jake Golday. I'll tab it so we get just linebackers here. Also have on the board Kyle Lewis, who had an incredible combine.
Yeah.
The knock on him is
he's a McDermott linebacker. He's probably needs to switch to safety. He's 220 pounds. He's great in coverage. Plays in the overhang. He's a pursuit style will. I don't know anything about him playing downhill, Mike. So
yeah,
He'd be
Harold
a Bill
Perkins.
for sure. If McDermott was the coach, we'd be drafting Kyle Willis. I promise you that.
Harold Perkins, Keyshawn Elliott, other linebackers to talk about here.
We're good on these guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to resume and get ourselves up to the 91st pick, or at least the neighborhood, and see if there's anybody we'd like the Bills to move up for. As we said, about 16 picks away, there goes Antonio Williams. I'm saying good. Yeah. Defensive tackle Grayson Halton. Guys, that's a name I've seen sometimes. What about as an idea for the Bills?
Good player. Not excessively long, but he's got a motor. Plays it well. I like him. I like him a lot.
Also, I've seen Jacob Rodriguez, linebacker, and Julian Neal, corner, both go off the board in this spot. And I know with Julian Neal, they had him in for a top 30 visit. Yeah. So
Arkansas Razorback, he's a good one.
Yep. Some of these names just kind of come across as familiar, and we're going to get more of these names in the next couple of weeks because now the owners' meetings being over, these teams are kind of hunkering down. Zachariah Branch off the board at receiver to the Falcons. Bills coming up in about 10 picks. And, third round here, Skylar Bell is in striking distance. If you want to go receiver, Brennan Thompson, Bryce Lance, one of the older receivers, North Dakota State. If it presents this way, there's defensive ends, there's edges, but I would like to think that the receiver is going to come here somewhere.
Yeah, and you mentioned Bryce Lance.
Yes.
Oh, you want to talk about verticality? This guy's off the charts with what he's been able to do over the last 2 seasons on deep targets. So that would
not get picked. Grab him now.
Yeah, that's going to be an easy. Gotta do it.
Bills on the clock. 91st overall. You want Bryce Lance?
Yes.
Yeah. Let me give you some numbers on Bryce Lance. So on targets 20 yards or more down the field in 2025. 16 catches on 21 targets. That's unreal efficiency. 641 yards, 3 touchdowns, over 40 yards per catch, and in contested situations, 5 of 6. Building on a 2024 campaign where he was 12 receptions on 22 targets, 481 yards, 6 touchdowns, over 40 yards per catch, and 5 of 10 when targeted. This guy's got an average depth of target of 14.1 on 170 targets for his career with a drop rate of 3.8%. Now, I know that it's going to be a different ball game getting deep in the NFL compared to the FCS level, but I think that skill set in a role where he can kind of grow into it and immediately provide that field stretching ability is absolutely tantalizing. I'd love him at 91.
Yeah, I've seen him quite a bit. Saw him 2 years in a row. He's got great ability down the field. And like you said, Joe, a lot of it is maybe some athletic stuff. Does really do some good things on the sidelines, being able to catch the ball, keep his feet in, all of that, incredibly athletic. And you say FCS, North Dakota State's an FBS team now, Joe. They are in the WAC. So,
are you serious?
Yes, I'm 100% serious. They begin playing FBS football next season. They have worked their way in, kind of forced their way in. They'll be in the WAC conference. So they are no longer in the Missouri Valley. And I can tell you this, there's a lot of teams in Missouri Valley, one of those being UNI. They're not heartbroken about it.
Oh, I bet not. Yeah.
Not at all.
The FCS National Championship Invitational to face North Dakota State is different now, right? So good on the rest of them.
They lost last year in the first round to Illinois State, who actually made it to the finals. But yeah, they're now FBS.
With the 91st pick, we'll have it after the break. Right on the other side, we'll get our votes in. We'll get that third round pick onto the 4th and the 5th as well. It's our first mock draft here on the Bill Squad Show. Back here on the Bill Squad, Jeremy White, Joe Marino, and the Big O, Jerry Ostrowski. We're here in the third round. The Bills are on the clock with the 91st overall pick. We can tell you the board once again. Bryce Lance, Brennan Thompson, Skylar Bell, your receiver options at defensive line. You've got Darrell Jackson Jr. at defensive tackle, a couple edge ideas, a couple linebacker ideas as well. But the fellas here are feeling it. They're feeling field stretcher.
Now, need I remind you?
Yeah?
Brandon Bean is 4 for 4 on FCS picks. He's about ready to go 5 for 5 if he makes this one.
Bryce Lance?
I think so. Jashawn Barham is on the board, which makes you think, but yeah, I know.
But we got an edge already.
I know. I'm just saying he makes you think. That's it.
Barham. That's one of those utility knife players. You get the little bit of inside linebacker, a little bit of edge guy.
But if we in theory picked Jake Golday at 65,
Right.
I think that's something to be mindful of. So.
Yep.
Well,
Kind of
yeah,
like
talking
almond,
of it.
you know, almond joy or mounds. I mean, you know,
Almond
I'm-
joy, brother.
I'm gonna
Almond joy.
right here,
I've
dude.
got
Same.
I've got enough support here for Bryce Lance. I'm going to click it. I'm going to go ahead and pick
There you
that
go.
receiver in the third round. Elite explosion numbers. The Bills go Bryce Lance in the third round, and off we go to the next pick, which the Bills will be 126. So an edge rusher added and a wide receiver added. And at this point, you know, that we're hoping somebody falls, right? You're hoping, you mentioned Jayshon Barham out of Michigan. Maybe he makes it all the way to the fourth round. Like, you never know. Teams have all these specific needs. And Kieran Crawford's another one that I hear quite a bit about, Joe. I saw Chris Trapasso's breakdown of him, likes him a bit. You know, a rusher that's big, explosive, and a name that could be a mid-round kind of guy. I'm not sure if you like him or not, or what you think of him.
I haven't seen him, but as this next pick comes around, I'm thinking about interior defensive line, maybe corner. But I think this could be a good opportunity here to get that trench piece, hand in the dirt trench piece.
Yeah. Barham goes at 107. A couple
Gosh.
picks before the Bills. It's 19 picks before the Bills. 107 to Cleveland. I think you'd just be surprised to see him last that long.
I don't see it. Yeah, I don't.
see it either.
Yeah. Bills coming up here at 126. We are at 118. And oh, look at this. Justin Jefferson's available. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Probably not the same one. Probably not the same one. There's a point to be made, like, as we go through this first mock draft, guys, Kevin Coleman, Jacoby Lane are on the board. If you sometimes in this process, you might, as you're going through your mocks, and as the Bills run their mocks, I wonder if they go back and say, like, you know, on 9 out of 10 that we did, this guy lasted longer than we thought. And you know, how that could affect your needs in round 1 versus round 3. Like, you know, you could probably tweak it as a result of that, or maybe see it played a little differently.
I thought about this last night. Now with the inception of Chat GPT and AI, just how many clubs use basically their mock drafts are run by the AI bots, like going off of trends for years and personnel trends and team trends and GM trends, and how realistic can you get these kind of pre-draft mocks now within the clubs with all AI and everything. I imagine it's nuts.
I think I got to trade up for you here, guys. I mean, maybe we should just take our chance he's not going to get taken. But there's a name on this board that I think the Bills worked out, and I don't know enough about him, Joe, but you can tell me. And that's Landon Robinson, defensive tackle out of Navy, right? Did they work him out or bring him in?
They're bringing him in for a visit. Jerry, have you
Okay.
watched his film yet?
I've seen a little bit of him live playing Tulsa. He's a motor guy, man. He gets it for sure.
I'm going to be more interested in a bigger body.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's not a dudes at Navy aren't big body
Right,
guys. They're
right.
dudes
He's
that can
super
fit in
athletic.
airplanes. Yeah,
Right.
About
Stubborn.
boats and
Yep.
airplanes. Yeah, so
You want Caleb Proctor, 6'3", 280?
No,
Not big enough.
no,
he's a
You
good rush
want-
player. He has no anchor against the run.
no,
Absolutely not.
he's an FCS guy that kind of led FCS in sacks. I think this year was close to it.
How about 6'5", 313? I mean, like it. Have you missed the boat here if you're looking for a very big guy?
Pop that back on the screen.
Yeah,
for
pop
us,
that
Jeremy.
screen up. Let's take a look.
Oh, DeMonte. Yeah, sorry, I keep doing this. I'm on the screen with the actual draft. I'm sorry. Just at defensive tackle, they'll do that for you, because if you're looking for somebody there, here's the full list of names: Zane Durant, Caleb Proctor, Xavier Harris, Rayshon Benny, Chris McClellan.
McClellan's a big body.
Xavier Harris is a big body.
Is Xavier Harris the one that showed up at the combine and lost like a human and then gained him back after he went home?
Listen. There are.
Is that who I'm thinking of?
There are absolutely red flags with Xavier Harris.
Yeah, he is then. Since he's saying that, this is who it is.
Listen. He's 6'8", 330, 34 and 5/8 on the arm length. He's a planet Earth theory guy where there's just not a lot of humans like him that can
Yeah.
move like him.
Yeah.
At versatility, he's played 5 tech, he's played nose, 6 block kicks during his career. The challenge is a 2023 DUI, 2024 arrest as well for domestic violence and obstructing arrest. So there's some problems here for sure. But there's obviously a physical profile here.
Does he characterize as an edgy guy that we bring?
I don't know. You know, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that goes. But
Well, let me ask you, like, if you're looking at the board here in the 4th round and talking yourself too much into it, Jerry, should we hand things over and start, and Joe for that matter, talking about interior offensive line? Like this could be, you don't have anybody on the interior offensive line signed past this year, right? With Austin Corbett and Alec Anderson and Osiris Torrance expiring contracts. So if you want an interior offensive lineman here, Parker Brailsford, Alabama, Logan Taylor.
Back up so
I'm doing it right now for you. Okay. Logan Taylor, Boston College. Here are all your offensive linemen on the inside. DJ Campbell, Pat Coogan, Fernando Carmona. If there's a name here you like, then the Bills could, start to try and grow organically.
Is 146 the very top?
Yeah, it's Parker Brailsford.
Okay. All right. Logan Taylor's okay. Ahmad Reed Adams, I do not like at all. Fernando Carmona's got some issues off field. Campbell was okay. Coogan's the guy that we've seen him play a lot of center lately, but I thought he played guard at Notre Dame.
He did.
So he would be a swing guy and a guy that I kind of like as far as, that kind of dude. As far as a straight guard goes on this list anyway, I like Bo Stevens. I'm a big fan of Iowa lineman. I like him quite a bit. He's a guy that will be the third drafted player off of that Iowa offensive line. Trost isn't bad. I think right there on that initial list, though, I like now see Golban is – I can't believe Golban – see, that's not going to – Golban I don't think will be on this list in real life. He's a really good center. He's a very good center from Michigan State. Fabici Nawawu, underwhelming to me. Micah Morris is a good player. I do like Micah Morris. He can move around a little bit. I mean, there's a lot of guys there.
What about corners? Are there any corners there? The Bills are one snap away from MJ Devonshire playing every snap for this defense, so I'm pretty concerned there.
With that many offensive linemen left, maybe there is a need to go elsewhere because this guy, they'll be available in the 5th round because there's a bunch of talent on that board.
Yeah, I like Takario Davis. At corner was on that list.
Tamani Jackson, PJ Hall, Thaddeus Dixon. Any name jump out for you?
Ephesians.
Who's the pick?
We got some books of the Bible here in Hezekiah and Ephesians.
Yes, I'm all about it.
What about offensive tackle?
Offensive tackle.
Markel
Bell.
I can't do Markel Bell. You watch this guy.
Too tall.
He doesn't. Body's wrong.
No anchor. Body's wrong. He looks like one of those. Remember the Snow Walkers in Star Wars?
The AT-ATs.
Yeah, the big thing on the. That's what he kind of looks like. Well, he's built a lot like Deion Walker. Very similar, but he's even taller.
And probably more extreme example. I mean, this guy's unbelievable.
I mean, seriously, he's like Deion Walker would be the large version next to this guy. This guy's the extra large version of Deion Walker. If you can imagine that.
I didn't even mean to watch him. I was watching Carson Beck film, and I'm like, who is this left tackle? And then you're like, oh, well, he can't move, so it doesn't matter. But
the guy I like on this list is Austin Barber. I think that would be a good pick at tackle. I like Austin Barber.
All right. Lost Ryan Vandermark. I think this could make sense, right? Take a tackle, try to, build your depth back up at offensive line. Good, Joe?
I'm good.
All right. Austin Barber drafted in the 4th round, offensive tackle. To the 5th round where the Bills will have multiple picks.
He can go inside a little bit if he has to.
Yeah. The Bills will have picks from themselves, of course, and also the pick of the Bears. Next up for the Bills, they'll be on the clock 165th and 168th. So there's 2 picks in a short little span here. And as we get closer and closer, again, like we've picked up over the course of the day, an edge, a wide receiver, and a tackle. Still looking interior defense, depth corner, and I guess safety could be in the mix, but I feel like depth cornerback. I mean, a Dorian Strong replacement, guys, is here a conversation worth having for sure after not knowing what's going on with him. So to get to the Bills and their next pick, we'll get a break in, and when we return, close out this round, this first mock draft, I should say, for the Buffalo Bills on the Bill Squad Show. It's coming up. We'll close it out next. Back here on the Bill Squad Show, Jeremy White, Joe Marino, and the Big O, Jerry Ostrowski. We are in the midst of a mock draft, our first for the Bills. 34th overall, they had Akeem Mesador. 91, Bryce Lance. 126, Austin Barber. We also included our own linebacker, Jake Golday, with the first pick of the 3rd round.
Yeah, that's pick 65.
We thought the price on the trade for Arizona by this website we're using was a little bit off. So edge, linebacker, receiver, tackle, and here we are with picks. 2 picks out of 4 in the 5th round. The Bills on the clock. I love these sites where it's like you have 5 trade offers for the 165th pick. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. But is there a second receiver conversation to be had? Is there a second edge conversation, a second linebacker conversation? Like this team does have its share of needs, and so if you want to double dip, as they say, there will be options to do so. I'll give you guys the draft board, and you can take a look and let me know what you think.
I think we've got to go corner and interior defensive line. Numbers are just screaming to me that we need to add there. So that would be my goal with these next 2 picks, is to get a corner and an interior defensive line.
You got to look at linebacker as well, don't you?
Right. Jake Golday is remember, that's our pick at 65.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Joe, you mentioned, did you say in a positive or negative light Tacario Davis here?
I go Tacario Davis for sure.
Okay. Elite size, fast.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Can play that man coverage that Jim Leonard's going to ask of these guys.
And then at 168, Jerry, you got a thought on
defensive tackles?
Defensive tackles. We're still up on defensive tackles, and a lot of the same names still kind of there. Tyron Montgomery, DeMonte Capehart, Xavier Harris, if you want to take a flyer on the big guy.
That's tough, though, right? Because, I know that I'm not even doing a real draft right now, but I know the red flags, and I feel bad wanting to do it. Could you imagine in real life, you know what I mean, doing this?
No, I can't imagine that at all, actually.
It's got to be really difficult. Dude, I really like Chris McClellan. I won't lie to you.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I like McClellan as well. He's your typical nose guard, space-eating nose guard. He did jump. I mean, he jumped basically 30 inches in the vertical. He's not terribly athletic, but he did run a 5.05, okay? So he can run a little bit, 6'4", 313, 34-inch arms, 11-inch hands. He's a big individual. And basically you're bringing him in to say, okay, this area here on each side of the center, that is yours.
He two-gapped in college too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, some of my favorite traits, I'm looking at my notes, power, length, block recognition, contact balance and body control, motor. I think this is the penetration style nose that fits really well with this scheme. I
think so too.
No doubt. Yeah.
Plus the other thing that makes him desirable, fellas, from the city of Tulsa. He's from the 918.
Wow. All right.
Should have known that. I should have had.
You want another bit of trivia? Bit of trivia?
Is it on Chris McClellan?
Yes.
Okay.
My son pinned him in 9th grade in wrestling.
Very nice.
But he didn't look
Sounds like we should be drafting your son here.
He didn't look like that. He didn't look like that.
I'm becoming oddly acquainted with Tulsa lore here for some reason over the last year. I don't know what happened.
Man, you should be. I got a lot of love for the 918, man. A lot of love for 918. Hey, Eton Thomas, Syracuse great.
Oh yeah.
You know, Booker T. Washington High School, Tulsa, Oklahoma. How about that?
Eton Thomas was at Syracuse and I was at Syracuse.
That's right.
For a couple of years there. Yeah, he was good. He was very good. All right, so Chris McClellan will make the pick?
Yes.
I love it.
Chris McClellan. And that completes our version. The Bills would still have more picks. We're just, I don't know if you guys are well-versed into the 6th and 7th for strong takes on what to do. But what we've accomplished here for this Bills draft, Akeem Mesador on the edge, Jake Golday at linebacker, Bryce Lance at wide receiver, explosive downfield guy, the brother of Trey Lance, by the way, younger brother, Austin Barber, offensive tackle, Tacario Davis, and Chris McClellan. So, when you zoom out and look at the group of players, how does it hit you? How you feel? Did we do all right?
I'd take it right now. If you told me right now, Joe, you can have this or whatever Brandon Beane does, I'll take this.
One thing, a couple of things. I think, it just shows even these mocks, it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's a pretty interesting gig. Now, granted, they've got 30 guys in the room giving them input. We've got 3 of us. And it's not even what we do, but it is what we do. You know what I'm saying?
One thing
the
is
other thing
also,
is, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say the other thing is I think the steal of this whole thing is Lance.
Yeah,
I really do.
Lance.
I really do. I think he's going to be unbelievable.
The thing I was going to say is when you do a mock draft this quickly, you kind of get over the things that happened right in front of you, right? Like if I go back and revisit this draft and what happened, if we were waiting for 3 hours to see if Concepcion was going to fall to the Bills, he ends up going 21st. That's not that heartbreaking. But the third round, when we traded down, it went, CJ Allen, Omar Cooper, Cassius Howell, R. Mason Thomas. Like those are all names we really thought about quite a bit. And then in the third round, it is where we really got hit with a couple more of those. Oh, that one hurts right in front of what you wanted to do. So, I feel like when you do it this way, the heartbreak doesn't stick with you as well because you're only thinking about a player for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
As opposed to like if you're picking early in the second round, you go to bed on Thursday thinking, I got to have this guy. And if it doesn't play that way, tough.
Remember the day when we just got the first 3 rounds done on Saturday?
Oh, yeah.
You saw that whole picture pretty quick. So feels like a million years ago.
It does.
Yeah, 1 through 3 on Saturday, 4 through 7 on Sunday. Now the first round, you get 8 minutes a pick. I mean, this thing's going to be wrapped up by 11 o'clock.
Yeah. It's free to attend. You guys going? Who's going to? I thought about that.
You want to go down there and hang out with all those Yinzers?
I haven't heard many people talk about it. It's not that far away. Like Bills fans could take over the draft. I guess if there was a top 3 pick or something, then maybe that'd be a conversation. But anyway,
it's coming to Buffalo. The Bills are going to get it pretty soon. The draft. Yeah. That's going to be. I might have to go to that. I've never been to the draft. Like I've been to the city that the draft is in, but I've not been at the draft. I've done broadcasts from elsewhere. If that thing's in Buffalo, we got to go.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I'm thinking already like RV, war room, setting it up, our own gig. I mean, heck, let's just take it over, man. Come on.
No doubt. I just Googled famous people from Tulsa because why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
Bill Goldberg. What a pull that.
Oh yeah.
Bill Goldberg went to the same high school as Chris McClellan. They went to Edison together. Or they didn't go together, but they're both from Edison.
I'll admit there was a season of my life where I did enjoy the wrestling, and it was right when Bill Goldberg was, doing his thing, and that guy was awesome, man. I thought he was the coolest guy in the world.
Yeah, I was with Bill in Atlanta. We got to be friends, and you could probably dig around on YouTube and find Fall Brawl from the WCW in Buffalo, and a bunch of us players there, and maybe somebody on the screen hopped in the ring with Bill Goldberg and helped him get backstage.
So I can find video of you in a wrestling ring with Bill Goldberg?
Oh, we're all there. Me, Ruben, Ted, a whole bunch.
I know what I'm doing when we're done with this stream.
Fall
this
Brawl.
Is unbelievable.
WCW Fall Brawl. Yes.
Fall Brawl.
You write that down.
Bill
Goldberg was in town. We hung out afterwards. Bill's a great guy. Great dude.
That's phenomenal. Dude. Just when I thought the greatest Jerry Ostrowski highlight was you spiking that ball against the Chargers for that touchdown, this is going to take the cake.
It's pretty interesting. It's beautiful.
So that's why I got to bring up random stuff with you. Because
we'll have to talk about it. Yeah, we'll have to talk about it backstage one time. We'll tell you about the whole experience. It's pretty good.
So, last question: this how it went, or your dream first round pick, and then let the rest of it fall as the chips may.
I'll be honest with you. I think that's what's hard about this mock draft is I like what we did early, but I'm not in love with it.
Mm-mm.
So, but I really like how it all, the whole picture looks good to me.
Yeah.
But
I don't think that the reaches are going to be there in the actual draft to make the thing flip the way it did. I actually think at 26, we're going to have a hard decision because even if he wants to trade back, he's going to have a couple guys sitting there staring him in the face that would be really good picks at 26.
Yeah.
And would fit us.
I also lately have really come around to the idea that a team trading into the first round for a quarterback just to get the 5th-year option is a bad idea. Brad Spielberger, formerly of PFF, made this point, and I thought, I've never thought about it before, and that's right. And here's the question. How many quarterbacks get to the 5th-year option? And if they do, they're probably not very good, right? Like if you draft a quarterback and he's good, you're extending him after year 3. You're not using the 5th-year option. If you get to year 3 and you're wondering, you might rather have that decision on a tight end or a tackle or a receiver or some position where you still have time for a player. Like Dalton Kincaid in a 5th-year option is actually perfect. I need more time. If it's a quarterback, no one ever plays in the 5th-year option. One of the outliers of this, guys, is Jordan Love. Jordan Love did not even play on the 5th-year option. He sat for 2 years. And after his 3rd year, before the decision on the 5th-year option, they signed him to a different kind of extension. So maybe the real smart money, if you're going to trade up into the first round to get a 5th-year option on a first-round pick, it's to do it for anything other than a quarterback, because there's no quarterback around that you haven't decided on by then.
Yeah, but also isn't the problem if you play on the 5th-year option, you don't have a really opportunity to manipulate the cap, and your number is like humongous.
It's exactly, just to drive this home. If CJ Stroud or Bryce Young make one Pro Bowl, their 5th-year option number is over $40 million. You would never play your quarterback on that. It's like, for a quarterback, it's a built-in franchise tag. And I never thought about it that way. And of course, like, if I'm Arizona, why am I trading up for the option? I'm trading up if I think I won't get him, but I'm not trading up just for this tool. I don't think that's a good idea anymore. So anyway,
I think the thing that I'm hoping for in this draft is it's in Pittsburgh. They get the Pittsburgh's pick and they pick Ty Simpson and watch the entire place burn to the ground within like the first 45 minutes to an hour of the draft. I would love for that to happen.
I think Bryce Young and CJ Stroud might be good examples of quarterbacks that ultimately play on those 5th-year options. One of them, I bet, will. Because
CJ
I think
Stroud has to, right?
Why wouldn't we also include Bryce Young with that?
Well,
because he made a couple of throws at the end of the season.
True.
I mean, I give him credit for that, but the whole thing's still the whole thing.
But the thing about that is, with a quarterback, it'll be a guaranteed salary, and that means the cap hit is also $26 million.
I know, but who wants to? I hate the whole thing of you got to give him the $50-60 million just because he plays the position.
I know. But the reality is, like, Stroud will be interesting. Like, does he instead get paid? Because what the Packers did with Love, again, was they signed him for, hey, here's still some guaranteed money. You can make more with big incentives, and we'll lower your cap number. That's what a lot of teams might do instead of just hitting with a $26 million cap hit. Anyway, I thought it was a super interesting point that it's kind of brand new to me. Anyway, this will be our only show this week, real quick. We've got some vacations. We're juggling all that. So have no fear, Mafia out there. You know, we've got our regular schedule coming back. This mock draft stands alone as our one show this week. So we appreciate you. And we'll be back to our regular schedule of twice a week, although we'll probably alter it on actual draft week because we'll wait till after the first round. We'll keep you posted. But hope you enjoyed this first mock draft. Maybe we squeeze another one in before the draft actually rolls around. And until then, have fun doing your own mocks, and go Bills.
Go Bills.
Much love, folks. Go Bills.